Göbekli Tepe, the civilization that shouldn't exist for most of modern history. Archaeologists believed they understood the order in which civilization emerged. First came agriculture, then permanent settlements, then monuments, religion, and organized society. Göbekli Tepe challenges that sequence. Here, massive stone structures were raised thousands of years before farming, cities, or written language. They were built by people who, according to every previous model, should not have been capable of such coordination. This is not a lost city in the traditional sense. There are no homes, no streets, no evidence of daily life. And yet, the effort required to build it rivals that of civilizations that would not appear for millennia. So the question is not simply what Göbekli Tepe is, it is why it exists at all. Göbekli Tepe is located in southeastern Anatolia, a region that today lies within modern-day Turkey, near the city of Şanlıurfa. In prehistoric times, this area sat at the crossroads of fertile plains, rolling hills, and seasonal migration routes for both animals and people. The site dates to approximately 9,600 to 8,000 BCE, placing it firmly within the pre-pottery Neolithic period, a time before ceramics, metal tools, or agriculture. At this point in human history, societies are generally understood to have lived as small, mobile hunter-gatherer groups. Population densities were low, permanent architecture was rare, large-scale construction projects were thought to be impossible without surplus food and hierarchical organization. Göbekli Tepe exists entirely outside those expectations. It does not sit within a known settlement. It does not appear to have supported permanent residents. And yet, it represents one of the earliest examples of monumental architecture ever discovered. To understand why this matters, we need to look closely at what has actually been found. Archaeological excavations at Göbekli Tepe began in earnest in the mid-1990s, led primarily by the German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt. What emerged from beneath the soil was unlike anything previously associated with this period. The site consists of multiple circular and oval enclosures, each formed by stone walls and dominated by large T-shaped limestone pillars. Some of these pillars stand over 5 meters tall and weigh several tons. At the center of many enclosures are 2 larger pillars, facing inward, surrounded by smaller pillars embedded in the perimeter walls. The surfaces of these stones are carved with detailed reliefs of animals, snakes, foxes, boars, birds, insects, rendered with care and repetition. Abstract symbols also appear, though their meanings remain unknown. Importantly, there is no evidence of domestic structures, no hearths, no storage facilities, no trash pits typical of everyday habitation. Animal remains recovered from the site indicate hunting, not herding. Stone tools match those used by mobile foraging groups, and perhaps most striking of all, around 8000 BCE, the entire complex was deliberately buried, not abandoned, not destroyed by disaster, carefully, systematically filled in. Göbekli Tepe does not present evidence of kings, armies, or centralized political authority. There are no fortifications, no weapons caches, no signs of coercive power. So how was such a site built? The prevailing interpretation suggests seasonal aggregation. Small hunter-gatherer groups, normally dispersed across the landscape, may have gathered at specific times of year, perhaps for ritual, feasting, or social coordination. The labor required to quarry, carve, transport, and erect the pillars implies planning and cooperation on a scale previously unrecognized for this period. Raw materials appear to have been sourced locally, but the sheer volume of work suggests participation beyond a single group. Rather than hierarchy enforced by force, coordination may have been achieved through shared belief systems, ritual authority, or social obligation. In this sense, Göbekli Tepe may represent a system where symbolism itself acted as social glue binding groups together without permanent settlement or formal governance. There is no evidence of warfare associated with the site. Its function appears expressive rather than defensive. Despite decades of study, fundamental questions remain unanswered. We do not know who organized construction efforts, how decisions were made, whether leadership roles were temporary or inherited, what specific activities took place within the enclosures. The precise purpose of the site is still debated. Was it purely ritual, a seasonal gathering place, a symbolic landscape encoding cosmological beliefs? We also do not know why the site was buried. The burial was deliberate, but its motivation, whether cultural transformation, ritual closure, or societal change, remains unclear. And perhaps most intriguingly, we do not know whether Göbekli Tepe was unique or simply the first discovered example of a broader, still hidden tradition. To grasp the scale of Göbekli Tepe's significance, comparison is essential. Göbekli Tepe predates Stonehenge by more than 6,000 years. It is older than the Sumerian city-states by several millennia. While sites like Jericho show early sedentary settlement, they lack the monumental symbolic architecture seen here. Göbekli Tepe shares similarities with later megalithic traditions, but without the social structures typically associated with them. In effect, it forces archaeologists to reconsider whether monumental ritual preceded permanent settlement rather than emerging from it. Göbekli Tepe did not collapse in the conventional sense. There is no evidence of invasion, famine, or environmental catastrophe directly associated with its abandonment. Instead, the site appears to have been intentionally buried during a period when agriculture was beginning to spread across the region. One interpretation suggests that as societies transitioned towards sedentary farming life, older ritual systems may have lost relevance or been formally closed. Another possibility is that the symbolic function of the site evolved, moving elsewhere as social organization changed. What is clear is that Göbekli Tepe represents transformation, not failure. Göbekli Tepe matters because it challenges a simple narrative of progress. It suggests that belief, coordination, and symbolic systems may have been drivers of civilization, not byproducts of it. It reminds us that complex human organization does not require centralized authority, permanent settlement, or economic surplus, at least not initially. In a modern world increasingly focused on systems, networks, and collective behavior, Göbekli Tepe offers a deep time example of coordination without hierarchy. It shows how fragile our assumptions about history can be and how much remains unseen. Göbekli Tepe does not give us answers so much as it reframes the questions. It stands as a reminder that human societies have always been more complex, more adaptive, and more inventive than our models suggest. And as more of the site remains unexcavated, one possibility remains open. What we know about Göbekli Tepe may still be only the beginning.